Drake just released a new song titled Family Matters. It's a diss response to Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria and 616 in LA. It is also, as far as we know, the complete version of his last diss, Push Ups. In this song, Drake alleges Kendrick of domestic abuse, talks about Kendrick's wife's infidelity that led to another child, and claims Kendrick of showing favoritism and being a hypocrite, all while addressing Metro Boomin, The Weeknd, A$AP Rocky, Future, and Rick Ross. But let's analyze this, bar for bar. Let's start with the cover art. From what I can tell, it's the LA skyline around 6 to 8 p.m. He also has the title of the song Family Matters, which is a reference to the show Family Matters, where the series revolves around a black middle-class family in Chicago, Illinois. Kendrick Lamar was born and shortly raised at Robert Taylor Homes, a public housing project located on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. He was raised there before moving to California. There's also the music video cover art showcasing the same van seen in Kendrick Lamar's second studio album, Good Kid, Mad City. This song can be broken into 3 different parts. The first where he addresses Kendrick directly, the second where he addresses everybody, and the third where he slows it down a bit and gets more personal with Kendrick.
I hate a rapper especially. They feel the same but they hide it. They just discuss it in private. Don't get along, man, we tried it. What's the point in even trying? I hate a goofy especially. They always dying to mention me. They gotta die out eventually.
Drake starts the song with Sandra Graham telling him not to say the N-word anymore before releasing the most aggressively ignorant iteration of the N-word in response to Kendrick Lamar telling him not to say it anymore.
Maybe in this song, you shouldn't start by saying,
Nigga, I said it, I know that you mad.
He then references Michael Jackson by saying he has to go bad after Kendrick mentioned his son and now has to deal with the consequences of his actions.
As you mentioned my seed, now deal with his dad. I gotta go bad, I gotta go bad.
Drake starts the verse by claiming Kendrick Lamar as a fake gangbanger before naming several other California known gang members.
If you had a set, they give your ass a DP. But you civilian gang in real life, you PC.
And then Cole called a shot for whatever reason.
And nigga Cole losing sleep on this, it ain't me.
Drake also insinuates that Kendrick has fake information and news that he's spreading around.
You better have some paperwork or that shit fake T. Can't be rapping by no ratting that we can't read.
He then claims that Kendrick is a fake activist and doesn't even help his own community.
You just acting like an activist, it's make-believe. Don't even go back to your hood and plant no money trees.
Drake then directly responds to Kendrick's Euphoria line about him hating the women that Drake is with.
Say you hate the girls I fuck, but what you really mean? I've been with black and white and everything that's in between.
Drake uses those lines to explain that Kendrick is contradicting himself because he does the same things, referencing Kendrick's Worldwide Steppers where he had sex with white women in retaliation for slavery and being happy around the wealthy kids.
You the black messiah wifing up a mixed queen and hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem.
He then insinuates that Kendrick and his fiancée Whitney Alford, who have been together since high school, have never loved one another.
On some Bobby shit, I wanna know what Whitney need. All that puppy love was over in y'all late teens.
Then he says that Kendrick isn't the saint who he seems to be, especially with his wife after hearing the topics discussed on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Your baby mama captions always screaming, save me. You did it dirty all your life, you tryna make peace.
Drake sets the entire verse up for the following lines where he claims Kendrick's son isn't his biologically. He says actually Whitney's and Kendrick's own manager, Dave Free.
I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Free.
He then asks Kendrick why doesn't he take pictures with his son, before saying it all makes sense.
Why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? Cause if your GM is your BM secret BD, then this is all making plenty fucking sense to me.
He then proceeds to interpolate Sexy Red's chorus on his song Rich Baby Daddy, but in the perspective of Whitney Alford in response to Kendrick's Euphoria line.
Shake that ass for Drake, now shake that ass for free.
He then makes a few more short jokes about Kendrick.
Yo man a Lil K, we call that shit a mini Drake. These bars go over Kenny head no matter what I say. He always said I overlooked him, I was staring straight. I know you like to keep it short, so let me paraphrase.
Then he finally ends part 1 by laughing at The Weeknd for trying to diss him in high notes.
Knew it was smoke when Abel hit us with the serenade. Niggas say
Drake starts the second verse off by directly responding to The Weeknd's All to Myself line about OVO shooter Baka not nice.
If Drake shooters doing TikToks, nigga really shooting in your gang, that's peace, brother, y'all ain't getting shit shot.
Then he laughs at The Weeknd again for singing his disses in high notes.
can't listen to the stick talking falsetto, saving for a hip hop nigga.
And he criticizes him for abandoning his hometown Toronto to stay in LA.
You don't even be at home, dog. You a souvenir out the gift shop, nigga.
Then he references Bella Hadid, the Weeknd's ex who Drake ended up being with in 2019, which created this entire beef.
Nigga still mad about that one hoe. We ain't even fuck, I just lip lock with her.
Then he moves on to Rick Ross, where he denies the nose job allegations and calls Rick jealous while revealing how he lost so much weight so fast.
I heard Rick drop, nigga talking something about a nose job, nigga. Ozempic got a side effect of jealousy and doubt and never told y'all niggas.
Then he laughs at the fact that Rick was a CO.
Put a nigga in the bars, let a nigga rock, kinda like your old job, nigga.
Again, he laughs at the fact that Rick Ross's house is so far out that no one even knows he's there.
A house sitting on some land, but it's out where no one even really know y'all niggas. Bitches gotta drive 2 hours for you pay him just to give a blowjob, nigga.
He then says that Rick Ross has to be out of his mind for thinking he has more money than him. Drake's last deal was $400 million, while Rick's entire net worth is $150 million.
Must have started up a snowball, cause my last record deal was 400 M's. These days, that's a low bar, nigga.
He moves back to the Weeknd by saying he makes music for the LGBTQ and that all of his associates are constantly moving to the gay capital of America.
Weeknd music getting played in all the spots where boys got a little more pride. That's why all your friends dip into Atlanta paying just to find a tour guide.
He then stands on the fact that the Weeknd's manager Cash XO spends all of his money on luxury items for men.
Able run your fucking bread, need to buy some more chains for some more guys.
He then takes a deeper look into what the Weeknd's entourage perspective actually is.
Let me get a used Ferrari for a rapper, take the nigga on a horse ride. Let me find another street nigga I could take to the game courtside. Anything to take a spotlight off the fact the boss is a drugged out little punk sissy from the north side.
He then moves on to ASAP Rocky.
Rakim talking shit again.
He then acknowledges the fact that Rocky smashed his baby mom Sophie Brousseau, but tells him to think about who he also was smashing at the time. ASAP Rocky's baby mother and fiance is Rihanna.
Gas cause you hit my BM first, nigga, do the math who I was hitting in.
He then proceeds to say that he thought Rocky was retired and became a full-time model because no one talks about his music as much as his fashion.
I ain't even know you rap still cause they only talking about your fit again.
Then he told him to stick to modeling because no one's gonna like his music anyway.
Even when you do drop, they gon' say you should've modeled cause it's mid again.
Then he calls Rocky a dick rider for trying to be included on Future and Metro Boomin's first Drake diss release, We Don't Trust You.
Smoking 50, but they should've put you on the first one trying to get it in.
Then he tells him next time he has a one-on-one with Rihanna, ask her for advice and she'll basically tell him he don't want no smoke with Drake.
Ask Spring if this a good idea the next time you cuddled in a bed again. She'll even tell you leave the boy alone before you get your head split again.
Then he moves on to Future saying that he feels sick that his close friends switched up on him and blames Metro for influencing it because Kendrick and Metro finally got him to feel away.
Pseudo shit made me sick to my stomach, we ain't never really been through it. These niggas had a plan and they finally found a way to rope you into it. Lil Wayne, he a fucking lame, so I know he had to be an influence.
Then he says he didn't even listen to their album, he just heard a few things and turned it off.
2 separate albums dissing, I just did a Kim to it, nigga skim through it.
He moves back to Kendrick and says that Baby Keem is actually his ghostwriter.
Hey, that shit is only hitting hard when Baby King put his pen to it.
He moves on by saying that he's killed everyone and that they'll be surrendering while people play his diss tracks in the club.
Cause all these rappers waving white flags while the whole fucking club sing to it.
Drake starts the third verse off by saying Kendrick can literally say anything and people will call it gold regardless.
Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now.
He then references Kendrick's uncle from Auntie Diaries by saying that his uncle is more masculine than him.
Where's your uncle at? Cause I wanna talk to the man in the house.
He then responds to Kendrick saying he's whooping feet by asking for a fade.
West Coast niggas do fades, right? Come get this ass whooping, I'm handing them out.
He also responds to Kendrick's line about inherited beef with Draco Pharrell and Euphoria by telling him to come to his house and get his chains back.
You wanna take up for Pharrell? Then come get his legacy out of my house.
Drake then shoots down the claim of him sending a cease and desist for Like That and calls him a hypocrite for telling the Tupac estate to do the same thing.
A cease and desist is for hoes. Can't listen to lies that come out of your mouth. You call the Tupac estate and beg them to sue me and get that shit down.
He then brings up the fact that Kendrick Lamar's father was robbed by Top Dog, who was robbing Kendrick contractually, and compares them to Birdman and Lil Wayne.
Your daddy got robbed by Top. You stunning and Wayne like father like son.
He then calls Kendrick a puppet for being used by Top Dog and overcharged by his songwriter and producer Kojo.
Anthony set up the plays. Kojo be charging you double for none.
He then brings back the fact that it's everyone against him and that they're only getting clicks and plays because his name is attached.
We already know it's a 20v1. We already know why you went #1. It's clearly because of the boy.
Then he says,
right about fuck the big 3. It's only Big D and it's video proof.
He also mentions that it'd be cute for them and their 2 light-skinned kids to go to the park together before reminding him that he is the Black Messiah and can't be seen with people of their complexion.
Our son should go play at the park. 2 light-skinned kids, the shit would be cute unless you don't want to be seen with anyone that isn't blacker than you.
He then references the two West Coast legends Tupac and Snoop Dogg, who he AI generated their voices on Tailor Made Freestyle.
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. We get that you like to put gin in your juice. We get that you think that you bishop and juice.
He then claims that Kendrick abuses his wife while laughing at the fact that he's shorter than her.
When you put your hands on your girl, is it self-defense cause she bigger than you?
He then brings up the fact that despite being high school sweethearts, having 2 children together, and proposing to his wife 9 years ago, they aren't married, questioning is this why she's in California and he's in New York, while bringing back the fact that Kendrick is a hypocrite and cheater despite playing Saint.
Proposed in 2015, but don't want to make her your actual wife. Why did you move to New York? Is it cause you live in that bachelor life? I'm guessing this wedding ain't happening right, cause we know the girls that you actually like.
He then spins the narrative of who is MJ and who is Prince by comparing the things MJ did to what Kendrick has to do.
It's all making sense. Maybe I'm Prince and you actually Mike. Top will make you do features for change. Get on pop breakers and rap for the whites. Michael was praying his features would change so people believe that he's actually white.
Then he calls Kendrick a hypocrite again by saying that he calls J. Cole a brother but tried to overshadow him. Like the time he tried to get Cole cut from XXL so he could take his spot, or calling off their collab album, or saying he isn't a part of the Big Three at all.
And wait, you say your brother Jermaine, but you only him to stay out of the light.
He then spins another one of Kendrick's bars by saying he can go to Delilah, a LA restaurant, with all of his chains and not be worried.
Head to Delilah with all of my ice. Head to Delilah with all of my ice.
Drake ends the song by calling Kendrick a hypocrite and liar for trying to paint a picture like he's a good guy while paying to clean his image at the same time.
The picture you paint, it ain't what it seems. They hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. You did.